Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it. Oh, okay. Let's start here in Exodus chapter 30, verse 11, through chapter 31, verse 18. The Lord spoke to Moses. When you take a census of the Israelites according to their number, then each man is to pay a ransom for his life to the Lord when you number them, so that there will be no plague among them when you number them. Everyone who crosses over to those who are numbered is to pay this, a half shekel according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel weighs 20 gerahs. The half shekel is to be an offering to the Lord. Everyone who crosses over to those numbered from 20 years old and up is to pay an offering to the Lord. The rich are not to increase it, and the poor are not to pay less than the half shekel when giving the offering of the Lord, to make atonement for your lives. You are to receive the atonement money from the Israelites and give it to the service of the tent of meeting. It will be a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord, to make atonement for your lives. The Lord spoke to Moses. You also are to make a large bronze basin with a bronze stand for washing. You are to put it between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. And Aaron and his sons must wash their hands and their feet from it. When they enter the tent of meeting, they must wash with water so that they do not die. Also, when they approach the altar to minister by burning incense, as an offering made by fire to the Lord, they must wash their hands and their feet so that they do not die. And this will be a perpetual ordinance for them and for their descendants throughout their generations. The Lord spoke to Moses. Take choice spices, 12.5 pounds of free flowing myrrh, half that, about 6.25 pounds of sweet-smelling cinnamon, 6.25 pounds of sweet-smelling cane, and 12.5 pounds of cassia, all weighed according to the sanctuary shekel, and 4 quarts of olive oil. You are to make this into a sacred anointing oil, a perfumed compound, the work of a perfumer. It will be a sacred anointing oil. With it you are to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, the table and all its utensils, the lampstand and its utensils, the altar of incense, the altar for the burnt offering and all its utensils, and the laver and its base. So you are to sanctify them, and they will be most holy. Anything that touches them will be holy. You are to anoint Aaron and his sons and sanctify them, so that they may minister as my priests. And you are to tell the Israelites, this is to be my sacred anointing oil throughout your generations. It must not be applied to people's bodies, and you must not make any like it with the same recipe. It is holy, and it must be holy to you. Whoever makes perfume like it, and whoever puts any of it on someone not a priest, will be cut off from his people. The Lord said to Moses, take spices, gum resin, ansha, galbanum, and pure frankincense of equal amounts, and make it into an incense, a perfume, the work of a perfumer. It is to be finely ground, and pure and sacred. You are to beat some of it very fine, and put some of it before the ark of the testimony, in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you. It is to be most holy to you. And the incense that you are to make, you must not make for yourselves, using the same recipe. It is to be most holy to you, belonging to the Lord. Whoever makes anything like it, to use as perfume, will be cut off from his people. The Lord spoke to Moses. See, I have chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God and skill and understanding and knowledge and in all kinds of craftsmanship, to make artistic designs for work with gold, with silver, and with bronze, and with cutting and setting stone, and with cutting wood, to work in all kinds of craftsmanship. Moreover, I have also given him Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, and I have given ability to all the specially skilled, that they may make everything I have commanded you. The tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, the atonement lid that is on it, and all the furnishings of the tent, the table with its utensils, the pure lampstand with all its utensils, the altar of incense, the altar for the burnt offering with all its utensils, the large basin with its base, the woven garments, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments for his sons to minister as priests, the anointing oil and sweet incense for the holy place. They will make all these things, just as I have commanded you. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, surely you must keep my Sabbaths, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord who sanctifies you. So you must keep the Sabbath, for it is holy for you. Everyone who defiles it must surely be put to death. Indeed, if anyone does any work on it, then that person will be cut off from among his people. 6 days' work may be done, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath of complete rest, holy to the Lord. Anyone who does work on the Sabbath day must surely be put to death. The Israelites must keep the Sabbath by observing the Sabbath throughout their generations as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the Israelites forever. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. He gave Moses 2 tablets of testimony when he had finished speaking with him on Mount Sinai, tablets of stone written by the finger of God. Lips sticking together this morning. Okay. Yeah. So, among other things, oh goodness, not keeping the Sabbath was also a capital punishment here in Old Testament Israel. And I heard something from Michael Brown that stood out to me the other day, that Israel saw God, and God was working in their midst continually, and it was very evident and very prominent in their midst. Like, their food came from God, their water came from God, their very lives came from God because, well, he created them, but also that he ransomed them out of the land of Egypt. And so you had this very strict system that was demanded of them because of the high amount of interactions with God that they had. So, yeah. Matthew chapter 26, verse 47 through verse 68. While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd, armed with swords and clubs, sent by the chief priests and elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I kiss is the man, arrest him." Immediately he went up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you are here to do." Then they came and took hold of Jesus and arrested him. But one of those with Jesus grabbed his sword and drew it out and struck the high priest's slave, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back in its place, for all who take hold of the sword will die by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot call on my Father, and that he would send me more than 12 legions of angels right now? How then would the scriptures that say it must happen this way be fulfilled?" At that moment, Jesus said to the crowd, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me like you would an outlaw? Day after day I sat teaching in the temple courts, yet you did not arrest me. But this has happened so that the scriptures of the prophets will be fulfilled." Then all the disciples left him and fled. Now, the ones who had arrested Jesus led him to Caiaphas, the high priest, in whose house the experts in the law and the elders had gathered. But Peter was following him from a distance, all the way to the high priest's courtyard. After going in, he sat with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were trying to find false testimony against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find anything, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, 2 came forward and declared, "This man said, 'I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days.'" So the high priest stood up and said to him, "Have you no answer? What is this that they are testifying against you?" But Jesus was silent. The high priest said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." Jesus said to him, "You have said it yourself. But I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and declared, "He has blasphemed. Why do we still need witnesses? Now you have heard the blasphemy. What is your verdict?" They answered, "He is guilty and deserves death." Then they spat in his face and struck him with their fists, and some slapped him, saying, "Prophesy for us, you Christ, who hit you?" So, interesting point, I think, because we recently went through this in Exodus. In Exodus 22, verse 28, it says, "You must not blaspheme God or curse the ruler of your people." But there's no punishment given for such, and as such, it's not punishment. It's not a death sentence to blaspheme God, nor is it a death sentence to claim one as the Messiah, because there was people after, like a person after, who claimed himself to be the Messiah, but didn't claim himself to be God. And there were certain among the Jews, namely the Herodians, who thought Herod was the Messiah. So what the high priest reacted so extremely at was Jesus claiming to be equal to God. So Psalm chapter 32, verses 1 through 11. How blessed is the one whose rebellious acts are forgiven, whose sin is pardoned. How blessed is the one whose wrongdoing the Lord does not punish, in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I refused to confess my sin, my whole body wasted away, while I groaned in pain all day long. For day and night you tormented me. You tried to destroy me in the intense heat of summer. Selah. Then I confessed my sin. I no longer covered up my wrongdoing. I said, "I will confess my rebellious acts to the Lord," and then you forgave my sins. Selah. For this reason, every one of your faithful followers should pray to you while there is a window of opportunity. Certainly, when the surging water rises, it will not reach them. You are my hiding place. You protect me from distress. You surround me with shouts of joy from those celebrating deliverance. Selah. I will instruct and teach you about how you should live. I will advise you as I look you in the eye. Do not be like an unintelligent horse or mule, which will not obey you unless they are controlled by a bridle and bit. An evil person suffers much pain, but the Lord's faithfulness overwhelms the one who trusts in him. Rejoice in the Lord and be happy, you who are godly. Shout for joy, all you who are morally upright. Yeah. This particular psalm in 32 verse 1, how blessed is the one whose rebellious acts are forgiven, whose sin is pardoned, is quoted in Romans chapter 4, where Paul expounds on the concept of justification by faith rather than justification by law. So it's a good chapter. If you haven't read it, I'd advise you to do so. Yeah, and David highlights just this phenomena of, if you're storing up sin and not confessing it, then it's pretty awful, and it feels bad, unless you've seared your conscience. then it doesn't feel bad anymore. Then you have a different problem. But David highlights the importance of confessing your sin. And yeah, I think that's important. Okay, Proverbs chapter 8, verses 27 through 31. When he established the heavens, I was there, that is wisdom. When he marked out the horizon over the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above, when the fountains of the deep grew strong, when he gave the sea his decree that the waters should not pass over his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him as a master craftsman, and I was his delight day by day, rejoicing before him at all times, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and delighting in its people. Yeah, and certainly if you see the beauty of his creation, you know it was done with wisdom. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. Definitely appreciate it. Bye.